Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. If you are a new listener, welcome. If you've been around, welcome back. For those of you who are interested, this is now also on YouTube, recorded live as well. So, welcome back to the podcast. Today's topic: how to successfully work with your partner as you go on this journey to becoming a sports expert. If you are watching, listening, following, if you're even in tune to these podcasts, you're in this world because we're all motivated. We're all striving to become the best in our specific platform and our specialty, or else you wouldn't be following this in the first place. But for those of you, let me describe some of you listeners. And if I'm wrong, please correct me. A lot of you want to succeed in your profession. You want to be the best. You want to be in a good job in where you feel valued. You want to be in a place where you can use all the skill sets that you've ever wanted to acquire. You wanted to make the best use of them. For some of you, you are a strength and conditioning specialist. You are a physical therapist. You're a massage therapist. You're a chiropractor. Whatever it is, that I know that you are trying to gain an edge. And what is it in your practice that you're missing, or that you want to add into to get your clients and your patients better? And so along that journey, and I'll share mine as we go on. Along that journey, whether you're single or you're married, you're going to have numerous conversations with your partner about what your professional goals are. And for some, it poses a little bit of a challenge, and in that a lot of the clinicians that I've worked with, or even the team members that I've been with, a lot of times we're on that same track. We have the same mindset. We want to become better. And it's just something internal. No matter how much you try and turn it off and turn it on, I gave an analogy that really our motivation is not really an on or off. It's more of a dial. You like it's 10% today, but it's 90% tomorrow, or 85 or 60. It's never really off, and I think that's just inherent. That's to who you are. And if you're not in your head, good for you. You're in the perfect place. So I'll give you a little background story. Somebody asked me this today, and they said, sometimes I feel like I'm on one track and my partner wants me to back off a little bit because, just quality of life. And I always feel like I'm trying to generate ideas, or watch a new documentary, or listen to new podcasts, or read a new book. And all of this is just saying the same thing, that we're all going towards a specific goal. And what happens throughout this journey to become that specialist, and by the way, it is never fully achieved. Here I am, 13 years after getting out of PT school, going through residency, and having dream jobs. And I now have my dream job here at Sports Performance, and I love what I do. There's just something insatiable, and that it's on to the next. And for that reason, I'm on to helping others do the same. And there's just a little something deep inside that just won't allow me to stop. It just doesn't, and I have to come to terms with that. And for those of you who this resonates with, I want to help set you up for success. If you have partners or significant others, if you're married, whatever it is, and they might have some challenges along the way because you focus so much on what your specialty is, and who you are. And I think that you have to, one, understand what that is, and what that means for your relationship, and how that impacts the relationship. I will introduce you to my wife, Stephanie. And Stephanie is an incredible human being, one of the most selfless human beings on this planet, and really just has helped me become a better person in many ways. And we met while I was at the residency at The Ohio State University. And when we met, she was, she appreciated how motivated I was, and how much I wanted to accomplish my goal of being the best. And, because of that, she was attracted to that. But now, as we move on, and we're now in, 9 years of marriage, uh, she's realized that it doesn't really stop. And so we've had to have really deep conversations, frequent conversations about how do we continue this without compromising our personal relationships. And that's very, very important to understand that to get to a point where you want to be, there's going to be bumps in the road, and you need to have an open communication with your partner. And so, here's a couple tips that I will say, and along with my story, to help you succeed and make sure that your relationships are as good as possible. All right. So, what I recommended originally, this was brought up. Somebody asked me, what do I do? How do I manage this? And I said, one of the first things you need to do is you need to have an upfront conversation. Well, one big one. If you want to have like little ones, that's good, but it's going to be one big one where you're like, some things are non-negotiable. Everything with your partner is a balance, right? 60-40, 50-50, 35-65. And when it comes to your personal development, one of the biggest things that this year that I changed since 2020 is that the term, if you're going down in a plane flight and you're about to crash, the first thing they tell you is to put your mask on first. And if you have kids, that's very hard to do because initially you want to put the mask on them first, but if you can't breathe, you'll pass out, and now your kids pass out. So for that reason, you got to put on your mask first. And I think that once I changed a little bit more of that mindset across the year, my personal relationships with my kids, with my wife, with our team here at Sports Performance has improved dramatically, is because I felt like I was trying to compensate and do all these other things because I thought I should do it all. And I think that what needed to happen was I just needed to have a conversation over and over again with myself, and then also my partner, my wife, Stephanie, in that you have to come to terms that if this is going to be a part of your future, this is going to be a big deal. And if you don't see this stopping at any time, it's like a freight train, it's going to keep going. I think your partner deserves to know about it. And I think that you need to have a really good conversation about what that means for them and how you're going to carve that into your relationship. Because if you don't, I've seen this go the other way. I've worked in professional sports, I've worked in various different capacities. And one of the things that I've seen before is that when people get into position of elite level jobs, because they're so time intensive and demanding, that if there's not good communication, expectations, I know a lot of relationships end in either divorce or in very troubling times. So in order to beat that is that you hit it head on. And I come from a place of open communication with both my team members and my spouse and my kids, and that outlining like, this is what I want to do, and I know that it is going to take a little bit of time to adapt to it. Maybe you work a 40-hour work week, and then you set aside time for podcasts, or you're reading a book, but that can infringe on dedicated time with your partner, and that's very, very important. And for some of you who are single at the moment, good for you, and enjoy the ride, because that puts you in a framework where you can go all out right now and invest in yourself and really put yourself first, put your mask on, and just go. Read all the books, do everything, take every con ed you can, get on somebody's mentorship. And for those of you who are established or have been married for a while, or you're in a deep relationship, or you're just starting, the principles remain the same. You have to be honest. So I would recommend, number one, start with monthly conversations. And I know this seems absurd. For those of you who know me and have been around me for a while, I am obsessive about open communication and making sure everybody's on the same page regularly. Here at Sports Performance, we do weekly meetings, hours of weekly meetings. And the whole purpose is to make sure everybody's on the same page and everyone stays in that lane. And that should be the same for your personal relationships. And so whether you take that advice or not, it's up to you. I'm just telling you, if you want to be successful in your career, the person with you along that path, who is right beside you and is going to go through those ups and downs, they deserve to be heard, and they deserve to know exactly what your plans are. So that way, when as you come into some highs and some lows here at Sports Performance, we call it tax season, where we have months of high volume because people are exercising more, or it's that time of the year, and when it's tax season we're on, and your partner needs to know that, like, to prepare mentally that whether if you work in the NFL, the fall is going to be brutal. You really don't see your family or whatever it is, and if you're in an outpatient orthopedic clinic and maybe you have like 5 con eds this year, and you want to read 5 books and you want to do a podcast every single week. I mean, all those things need to be carved out so your partner knows, like, this is the expectation, and this is a real problem, and it's for those who are very motivated. They want to become hyper specialized in what they do, and for the right listener, this is very, very important. And maybe you guys are early in your career, nonetheless, it will be, and it's something for you to keep in consideration. For some of you, I have some students on here. I have new grads, very established, 10 plus years clinicians, and then everywhere in between. So my deepest advice is to have monthly conversations with your partner. One big one to start off the conversation of, hey, I know I met you, or I know that you saw me in this light. I'm going to continue, and this is why I want to do it. And you have to ask yourself, number one is have monthly conversations. But before you do that, number two, you have to come to terms with why you're doing this. If you ask me, why do I keep pushing? Uh, it's something that I've always wanted. And, I was raised by my grandma, and I remember seeing her work so hard to give me everything. And, without her having a large education or access to school, for me, it was, I was very blessed to have that. And because of that, I want to be able to push to the limit and really set a platform for my kids to enjoy this, to be motivated, to leave a legacy, to share this information with others. For me, it's really about giving to others. That is my thing, my why. I love seeing other people grow, and anybody who works with me at Sports Performance, I hope to give them the platform to be 10 times better than I am, and that to me is real. And because of that, everything that I support or everything that I teach is tied to an outcome, like to make you better. And so, because of that, I had to come to terms with that, and I explained that to my partner, my wife, Steph, and she understands that. She understands that this is an important part of who I am, and it's what makes me happy and what drives me. And so, for some of you, you're listening, you're like, I don't know if I'm that far along, but you see yourself even in a glimpse. This is for you, and you have to consider this as you go into partnership, or you're in a relationship and you're about to get married or engaged, or you're about to have a kid. It gets real. You're about to go into a big tax season where your family is going to take priority and precedence, and that's fine. You're just going to turn the dial down, and you have to realize that internally, that you have to put yourself in that position. It's not fair to them. And so number one, you have a big talk, meet on a regular basis. For us, it's monthly. Literally, we sit down and have a conversation about where we're at and what the next month holds and what we're trying to do. Just because I want full clarity and make sure everybody's on the same page at all times. And then two is figure out why you're doing this. Is it really just because you want to be the best? But why? Why do you want to be the best? For me, it's to be able to give to others. I strive to be the best only because I know that the people around me are going to benefit from that, and to me that's powerful, because I know that they'll have the ability to create something different, bigger, better, faster than I ever did, and that's really motivational for me. I love that aspect because the people around me, they get my full investment in who I am, and supporting them as a human and as a professional. So those are my tips, and I hope that for a lot of you, have to figure out if this is happening to you now and you haven't had this conversation, man, there's a lot of disagreements that you're going to be having and a lot of issues. So at some point, you got to hit it head on. Stop working around it. And for some of you who this is new to, and you're like, man, this guy's crazy. I don't know if I'm too into this. Believe me, if you're listening to this podcast and you're trying to become a specialist, you're going to hit it. And some of you are nodding. You're like, yep, it hit me at year 3 or right after my residency, or I had a kid and it hit me. Well, yeah, because that little button, that anything inside of you, it doesn't turn off ever. You're always looking for that next big thing. And for some of you, you know that you are going to get married, or some are going to stay single for a long time. Good for you. But ultimately, if you're looking for longevity in the relationships that you hold, this is going to be very, very important for you. So along your journey, whether you get a dream job or you're trying to get a dream job, or you're a student or a new grad and you're single, this is essential. Be prepared to have these conversations and just let them know right off the top, like, I love what I do. It's not work, because literally I'm so passionate. It doesn't feel like work. If you ask any of my team members, that's exactly how I feel. What I do is it's just fun, absolute fun for me, and it is absolute truth. And my wife knows that. And every time I come home, every single day, hey, this happened, this happened. Can you believe I did this and this? And she's like, I'm done, I'm out. Understood. Yeah, I understand. I know my limits, but because I have had numerous discussions at length on a regular basis, that she knows exactly where I'm going, and she supports me on that. And because of that, we have a good working relationship, and I'm very blessed to have that. But that's over years of conversations and years of finding out that beforehand I used to just go, and I thought she understood it. I thought she knew it. And it just took multiple deep conversations for us to understand that, like, this doesn't end. And I am fully supportive of turning the dial down, up or down, but it won't end, and you need to tackle it head on. So there you go. There is my lesson for the week. I hope this resonates with some of you guys, especially guys and girls, excuse me, as you guys advance in your careers. And I wish you nothing but the best. I know that this is going to be an important part of your growth, and you have to address it, and don't put it off to the side. So there you have it. Thanks for tuning into the podcast. Another day, and I hope that you guys share your discussions with me. Let me know how it goes. Some of you, I hope that you don't end up in the doghouse or in the garage or on the couch after these discussions. Don't blame me. I could totally see you guys coming back to me and saying, hey, Chris said, absolutely not. You are an adult. You figure it out. I'm just here to support along the way. All right, guys. Until the next episode, take care.